What's up, YouTube? Corey here, BPB. We are back out in the shop. Today we're working on part 5 of the Buick GS build. So part 4 we did the body work and got it ready for primer. So this video I'm just going to focus on what's done after you get your body work done. You think it's all done, perfect? Well, generally it's not really that perfect once you lay your primer on and then guide coat. So that's what this video is about, is primer. We're going to shoot another coat of epoxy primer to seal it up, some good 1-to-1 epoxy primer to make sure none of the corrosion or anything comes back. And then after that, within the window of respray window, we're going to go ahead and hit it with 2 coats of 2K high build primer, the whole thing. So then when we go to put our guide coat on, you'll block it out with 320, 180, whatever you pick. Usually start with 180, block it out again because it's going to get primed again anyway. So anyway, we'll start blocking it. Then you'll start seeing all the things that you really couldn't see before you got to that point. So primer, high build primer, and a guide coat is a must if you want super slick body, super slick material or parts. I'm sorry. So enough rambling. Let's get over here and take a look at where we're at with the car, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys, let's go take a look at her. We've already cleaned everything up with wax and grease remover. I believe the only thing that's changed since the last video of body work is that we filled a couple little small pinholes here and there. And that's just so we don't have to try to fill them with high build primer. So this thing is pretty much ready. Everything's been wiped and tack clothed, so all the dust's out of the air. So I guess the next step is to go ahead and shoot on our epoxy primer. So that'll take 1 coat. That's all you need with that. It's just to seal it up. And then we're going to use 2 coats of high build. And from there, you'll sand most of that off again. But this is what it takes, guys. It's just a lot of repetitive work. A lot of grinding, a lot of sanding, a lot of filling, a lot more sanding. It's just repetitive stuff. But if you want it done right, you want it to look right, it takes a long time. That's enough rambling. I will go ahead and get you guys over here and we'll take a look at what we're going to spray on as far as epoxy. All right, we're going to throw on some Restoration Shop DTM epoxy primer. Like I said, this is just for corrosion reasons, okay, just to seal it up. This is thin. It's not real thin, but it's not real thick either. It's just lay it on kind of light. You don't have to pour it on. You don't want any runs in this. If you run this stuff, you got to stop, sand it out, then lay on your 2K. So just take it easy if you're using this, but this will seal it up and keep anything from coming back. Now, if you watched our last video, you know that we put this on at bare metal stage once the car was completely stripped, to keep anything underneath our body work from coming back. So now our body work's done, so now we're epoxy priming again. Okay, that 2 coats of high build and we'll be good as gold. So hopefully our body works straight and we don't burn through everywhere, but it happens. All right, this stuff's 1-to-1, like I said, so just on your cup, find your 1, run it up. I want the most. I think this is going to take about 3 cups. So we'll run it up to the 5 over here on this second one, right about there. This one you might be able to see a little better. See, it's at that, just above that 5 there, so we want to take it to just above that one. Okay, last one. All right, let's get it started up and we'll go get this stuff on. All right, guys, I got the first coat on, the coat of epoxy, and it's still wet, okay, in spots. So it looks shiny, it looks dull, looks here, there. And like I said, all this is going to do is seal it up for us. This is corrosion. It's thin. It's like water. It's just corrosion protection. So what we're going to do is give this, it says about 30 minutes, according to the technical data sheets. Then we can top coat it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go on and in about 30 minutes from now, none of this will be shiny. So everything that's still popping and wet, it'll be completely dull. And then that's kind of how you'll know. But according to the TDS, like I said, 30 minutes. So I'll let this finish tacking up. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and go over there and start mixing up my high build. It's 4-to-1. We're going to use the U-Pol, UPOL. That's the same primer we always use, high build primer. Good stuff. It's DTM. It's supposed to have some corrosion protection in it, but for extra added corrosion protection, we'll do the epoxy on these when we strip them. So that's what we're doing right now. I'm going to go ahead and go mix some more up. It's going to take about 3 cups per coat, so roughly 6 cups, and then we'll come over here and start shooting. All right, guys, it's been a little over 30 minutes. Everything's completely dried, no more shiny. We're going to go ahead and we've got everything mixed up as far as our high build. So now we're just going to pour it on. Hopefully put, like I said, 2 good thick coats on it. And then tomorrow, hopefully, we'll get on to the important part. This stuff really don't matter much. Everybody pretty much knows how to spray, or, you know, if you're watching this video, you're trying to learn how to do something like this, you got a good idea. But I still want to show a little bit of this. But the most important part, I think, is once we get the high build on and the guide coat and blocking it out. Because you can see, I mean, this stuff looks really straight right now, but I guarantee you, once everything's completely primed, once I start blocking it, you'll notice just a little bitty, teeny tiny, you know, maybe little dings or scratches or just tons of stuff. I mean, it happens. So that's the importance of this. But I'm going to go ahead and turn these fans on, set you guys up on the tripod here, and start spraying this. And we'll be back shortly. All right, guys, we got the car back over here, and I'm going to go ahead and start putting the guide coat on. Now, I already did part of it, and I just lightly dusted on all around, okay? And all I'm using is just a black spray paint. It's just fine. We're going to 2K prime over this again, so it won't be no problem. Most of this will be gone, but it will show us our low spots. That's what we're doing here. So we just want to lightly dust it on. You don't want it thick. You don't want to be blocking this stuff off too, you know, like you would paint. You just want to be able to see your low spots. Nice and easy. I'm just going to keep going at it until I finish it, and then We'll be back here in a few with some 180 on an air file, on a block. I'm not going to use an air file on it, but air file paper on a block, and we'll start blocking it. All right, the guide coat is on everywhere. I've already sanded half of the car, so you guys can kind of see how this works, you know, what we're looking for and what's our next step. So then I'll show you a little bit on the other side how I came to this. So if you look, there's still, you know, even though I've been doing this for nearly 20 years, this stuff, there's still spots that I missed with my eye. That's the glory of this guide coat. So there was still a tiny little bit of a high spot here that I didn't know. As soon as I started blocking, it showed up. Okay, this here, anything you see above the gray primer, see, this is epoxy primer underneath the gray. Okay, the gray is on top. Here, this stuff is the guide coat and what was left behind, and it's in the gray, which was the last primer that I put on. So this is what I'm really worried about. Highs, anything that's metal, and the lows are going to have to be filled. So this right here is going to need just a tiny little skim coat, and the reason I can't sand it anymore is because there's metal here. So if you sand it here, that's just going to become lower, and we don't want that. Right now I've just barely brushed the surface off of that, so it's not really that high. So if we go ahead and keep sanding, then it's going to become a really big high problem. So that's why we're not going to do that. So anything like this, if it's too bad and, you know, you hit it, I don't think I have anything that's bad or that I'm worried about, but sometimes you might have to take a pick hammer, your body hammer with the pick on it, and you might have to tap it down a little bit before you, and then, you know, sand it again before you go on to your next coat of primer, or it'll just keep happening again when you go to block it the next time. But I'm not worried about that. We're right now I'm just focused on this here. See, here's metal. Okay, it's kind of hard to tell what's what, I'm sure, on camera, but here's a low spot, and I did not see this at all, and I worked this whole quarter, and somehow this just got by me. And it's not much, but if I painted it, boy, it would stand out like a sore thumb. So we don't want to do that. We want to finish blocking. So we can't block anymore on this, but we want to finish blocking the rest of the car. And then all this stuff has to be filled. This tiny little bit of a low spot here, tiny one here. As far as that goes, the filling, there's a little tiny one here. See, some sand and scratches still left behind, but I can't block that out anymore. It's gonna have to have a light fill to fill those. The door turned out amazing. I do not believe there's anything we got to do the door other than prime it again. Our fenders, well, this fender, I got one little low spot here and one little low spot here. Now, like I said, I could dig at it with 180 on a file. I don't want to do that. Then you're going to end up with, you know, the panel all uneven and warped, wavy look. So this right here is going to give us the perfect straight show car look. So what we're going to do now, though, is set you guys up on the tripod on the other side and show you how much time and how intensive labor it is blocking these out by hand, so you can get this perfect look. So I'll set you guys up and we'll get to sanding. All right, guys, just been sanding. You guys seen I've got this side pretty much blocked out except for the front here. We've got Lou on the doors with the long block, and it's coming along just fine. Just want to keep doing the crosshatch pattern back and forth, side to side, and knock that stuff down. You'll start seeing them low spots come out. We've got, Same exact spot on the other side. Just a tiny little bit of a low spot here. Tiny little bit of a low spot here. And other than that, this side's really looking pretty dang good. Probably less spots than the other side for sure. It's looking really good back here. That's what we're going to keep doing. Back and forth, side to side. Just keep sanding. You guys can see that spot there starting to come out. Little low spot, probably a ding that we missed. That's why we put that guide coat on there, to show everything. It's a very important step. Don't forget about it. All right, we're just gonna keep sanding, guys. All right, now we've got the whole side blocked. Everything is down as far as we can go, because we know, because we started hitting metal, you know, you can't go any lower than that. So what we've got left actually is not very much on this side, and that's good. The other side had a few more spots than this, but tiny little low spot here, little bitty ding here, small little one here will fill. But for the most part, here's one. I don't know how I missed this, but it's a decent little dip. But that's why we love guide coat. There's a little one. Same here as, like I said, on the other side. Just slightly here and here. And this stuff ain't gonna need much. It's just literally just gonna need a skim coat of filler, and then we will block it right back out with the exact same 180 that we've been blocking it with, and it'll just flow right together. And it'll get rid of all these low spots. So that's the plan, and that's what we're doing. Next will be a little filler work. All right, I went ahead and filled a couple of spots over here on this side, and we're gonna do the exact same thing. Like I said, same 180, same block. We're just gonna pretend that, you know, we're blocking this car exactly how we did everything else. And we're gonna block these spots that are just a tiny bit of filler over them low spots. Same thing as the other side that I just pointed out. And this one here I already did. It was a little bit of a low spot and I blocked it out, and now it's perfect. There's absolutely no more low spot. That's all gone. That one there I didn't sand yet. That one I did so I could show you. And I also did the ones in the fenders. It's up here. So I had a tiny low spot here, a little bit there and there. Those I gotta still block out just a little bit, but just to give you an idea. Same process, blocking with the, you know, crosshatch pattern, just like so. Okay, and you'll start seeing that low spot, if there was any left, coming to the top. So it looks like we probably got it all. Oh yeah. Much better. Just a little bit of feathering here around the edges, and this spot is done. Same thing here, guys. 180 block. Now when we're all done with this, I'll move on to the other side. All right, I've got the filler out. I went ahead and, like I said, filled these spots, sanded them back out. This whole side is golden. So now it's ready for the final sealer, epoxy primer and sealer. So this side is still needing a little fill work. So we're gonna go ahead and mix up our filler, same filler we were using before on the build. And we'll just flow it in these low spots real lightly, and I'll set you guys up on the tripod to watch us do that, and then we'll get at it with some 180 grit. All right, that's gonna be it for all the blocking and sanding. This thing is straight as an arrow now. It looks funny because of all the layers of, you know, sealers and primers and you know, fillers, but it's perfectly straight. And that was, you know, that's the whole purpose of this video, is to show you guys how to block these things out from start to finish using, you know, just standard ordinary blocks and hand tools, and, you know, cheap guide coat that you can pick up from pretty much any hardware store, and you can get the same results as these pros doing exactly what I'm doing. This stuff right here is, you know, that makes it fail proof. Guide coat is great. Okay, so our next thing we're going to do now is go ahead and pull the fenders back off. You know, this is probably the 20th time. I don't know, you got to do this a lot. It's just tedious, you know, time consuming work. But pull these fenders back off, and then I will mask everything up, tape everything up, and we're gonna put on another layer of our epoxy primer to seal this back up, because when we sanded, we hit bare metal in some spots. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. Epoxy primer, seal this up. That's gonna keep any and all rust from ever coming back through. So this won't need to be done again in 10 years, 15, 20 years. Okay, it'll be done. So what we're gonna do is, like I said, lay that epoxy primer on, and then we'll go ahead and hit it. After that flashes, we'll hit it with a good, nice coat of 2K sealer, which is just a 2-part with an activator, you know, good hard sealer. And then I like to use the primer, and just, there's an option on the can to thin it out and make it a sealer. So that's what we're going to use. And then after that, it will just get blocked out by hand one last time with 600 grit wet sand. And that's the way I like to do it. If you get that slicked out after that 600 wet, and you've got every single flaw, every pinhole, every low spot fixed with that 600, and then you lay your base coat on top of it, it'll look like a mirror. Throw your clear on and you're done. You don't have a bunch of ripples and waves and stuff. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to go ahead and get these fenders off of there and start masking her back up. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead. We've got it all masked up. Got the fenders set up, ready to shoot. I touched up all the little pinholes, anything I seen. We actually had about 6 little spots, all minor. Just, you don't want any pinholes or anything in this stage. Okay, this is a final prime. We're done after this. So this right here will seal the deal, and we can go on to, you know, prepping it, and then base coat, clear coat. So right now I'm going to go ahead, I've got everything mixed up, and we're going to be using some Restoration Shop epoxy primer. It's good stuff, so that'll seal up and keep all of our rust, anything from coming back. And then we'll go ahead and throw on a coat of the 4-to-1 high build primer. That'll give us something to you know, our base coat to stick to. So that's how we're gonna do it, and we're gonna get this thing set up here and we'll start spraying. All right, guys, it's fully primed. I went ahead and unmasked it so you can see how good it looks. It's straight. It's straight, that's for sure. It looks good. We did go ahead and, like I said, I started unmasking it, but we went ahead and took this door off. So that's what we got to do next, is the door jambs and the back side of everything. So same process for that stuff. So like the back of the fenders, we'll flip these up now, and we'll do the same process we did on the top to the back and make sure they're nice and slick and smooth. Same thing with the door jambs, the back of the hood, and the back of the deck lid. So all this stuff's gonna get full, you know, completely sanded, stripped, epoxy primed, and then go ahead and paint it, the body color, put it all back together, back on the car, tape up all of our door jambs, okay? Same with the fenders, paint the backside, put them back on the car, tape up all your jambs, tape up everything that you just painted so you don't get overspray on it. And then you hit the whole car as a whole. That's how you make sure it's all nice, slick, one uniform color across the whole thing. You're not spraying a fender at a different time or a hood at a different time, and it's not matching when you're done. So as far as this video, I do believe pretty much sums this up. This video was basically guide coding, priming, blocking to get that perfect slick body. So yeah, from here, like I said, we'll go ahead and tackle the rest in the next video. I could show you guys the jams, but it's all just the same tedious work, okay? You've seen we got the door off. We're just gonna go ahead and do that exactly like we did the rest of the car. I need to make up some time because this videoing really kills time, and I really want to get this car done. So I am going to focus on getting these jams done and painted, getting everything else painted, and getting the car put together this week. So the outside of the car, may be able to get it painted next week, roughly, if everything goes good. And then finish putting her together. Should go fast from that point. Let me know what you guys think about it so far. It's definitely coming together. I think he'll be very happy with it. Yep. All right, like I said, thanks for watching, guys. It's time to finish this video up. I hope you learned something from it. We're trying to share all we can in here. I know a lot of other channels, not dogging on anybody, but they don't show everything, or, you know, try to help you guys get to this point. That's our goal with this channel. I want to thank all of you guys. We're almost 3,000 subscribers now, and it's growing like crazy. I'm just trying to put out the content. It's a lot of work, but just most importantly, thanks for everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for subscribing. Yeah, but on to the next video, guys. Hopefully the next one will get some paint on this thing.